to celebrate July 4th, okay? So we're celebrating a little early. It is tomorrow, but I've got 3 crafts to get you ready. So to get started, in case you have any questions as I go through, you're going to see the name Olivia, and it says, ask me a question. You can ask Olivia questions throughout. So if you got questions about any of the products I'm using, substitutions, you need me to slow down, you can ask Olivia. She'll be able to answer you directly, or if she needs to call out those questions for me to answer them, we can. All right, let's get started with craft number 1. So for our first craft, you're gonna need a couple things. Go ahead and grab some construction paper. I chose to use red, white, and blue because I wanted to do something patriotic for 4th of July. You can pick any colors you want. You're also going to need some glue. So I'm using my washable glue. You can also use a glue stick as well. You're also gonna need a pencil, a ruler, and you're also going to need your scissors. So we are going to make paper beads. So you guys can make your own bracelets or necklaces. So to get started, let's take one of our sheets of construction paper. So I'm gonna start with my red. Grab your pencil, grab your ruler, okay? And we're gonna start by putting our ruler on an angle. So we wanna put our ruler at the very top corner of our paper, okay? So top corner of our paper, and maybe if we get a top down, we might be able to see a little better. So top corner of our paper, and we want to put it on a little bit of an angle, okay, so that we can make a triangle. So it's going to be a really long triangle, all right? So we're going to go ahead and draw with our pencil. I'm going to make mine extra dark. All right, there we go. We got the top down so you guys can see it better. So let me show you again. So we want to put our ruler at the corner of our piece of paper, okay? So ruler's at the corner, and we want to put it on a small angle so that when we put our ruler there, it looks like a really long triangle, all right? So go ahead and take your pencil and draw that line, okay? So now what we're going to do is we're going to do the opposite, okay? We are going to use our ruler, and we're going to start at the other side. So where we were wide, so the bottom flat side of our triangle, we're going to put our ruler there on an angle, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to put it on a little bit of an angle so that we can draw the line and make another triangle, okay? So we're going to draw that line. Okay, so we're going to do that twice on one sheet of paper, and we're going to make a couple different colored beads. So we started by putting our ruler at the corner. We put it at a slight angle, and we drew that line, okay? And then, let me move this up so you guys can kind of see it. My lines are a little bit, because I did a couple, so there's a little bit overlapping, but you can kind of see how they form the triangles. So we started at the corner, down from the corner, and then we went the opposite way, at an angle up, and traced it, okay? So now we're gonna cut those both out. So ready, we're gonna start at the bottom, and we're gonna follow that line that we made, and we're gonna get that really skinny, long triangle all the way up to the corner. So when you cut it out, it looks like that. So go ahead and cut out both of them. And then we're going to do the same thing on our blue and our white sheet of paper so that we end up with 6 triangles, and then we'll have 6 beads when we get done. And they don't have to be even. It's not a big deal if they're not even or the same width. It gives your beads character. So I'm going to give you guys a second to get those cut out. And once you're ready, grab that other sheet. And if you are ready, you can go ahead and do the exact same thing that we did with our red sheet on your next sheet. So I'm using blue as my next one. But remember, you guys can pick any colors you want. So if you need to see it again, we're gonna put our ruler at the corner. We're gonna put it in a slight angle, so it's gonna be tilted a little bit. And we're gonna trace it with our pencil. So we get a really long and skinny triangle. Pull that up so you guys can see it. And then we want to make a second one. So we go back down to the end. We put our ruler slightly tilted, that slight angle. We use our pencil to make our triangle. So we've got 2 triangles now on our blue sheet. And then we can cut them out. And so you guys just keep going. We're doing the same thing over and over again. So on all 3 sheets of paper. So if you are kind of moving ahead and you've got your triangles already cut out on your blue, you can move on to your 3rd sheet. My 3rd sheet's going to be my white. And remember, guys, if you've got questions, chat those questions to Olivia. You should see Olivia's name right there in the chat box. You can ask those questions to her and she'll respond to you directly. All right, I'm gonna give you guys a second to get caught up. And then we're gonna do 2 more so that we can make 6 beads. And remember, don't throw your paper away. Save that paper. We always like to save our paper. Use it for other projects. And you may want to come back and make some more beads afterwards. All right, so we're going to move on to our 3rd sheet of paper. So we're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to start up at the corner, have our ruler slightly tilted, and we're going to use our pencil to make that really long, skinny triangle. Okay, you guys see it again? That long, skinny triangle. And then we're going to make 1 more. So we put our ruler down at the end of that triangle. We put it slightly tilted to make our 2nd skinny triangle. Okay, and then we're going to cut these out. So we're going to cut these last 2 out, and then we'll be ready to start making our beads. All right. I want to see who picked red, white, and blue. Raise your hand if you picked red, white, and blue. All right. If you picked a different color, hold up those colors. I want to see what colors you picked. Right, looks, oh, we got some people that did blue and yellow. Oh, we got some red, blue, and yellow. I like it, guys. I like your creativity. So we're making these beads and I'm doing the patriotic colors, but like some of you guys did, you can pick any colors that you want and you can make these all year round. Okay, so when you get done cutting out your triangles, you should have 6 total triangles. Okay, and then we're also going to need our pencil. All right, so we're going to need our pencil to help us make our beads. So keep your pencil. You can also use a pen. You could also use a straw as well. But we need something that's about the thickness of a straw or a pencil because we want to make sure that the opening in our beads is wide enough for some yarn to go through. All right, I'm going to get started on our first bead. I want to make sure that my glue is ready. So I've got my glue handy. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start at the wide side of my triangle. Okay, I'm going to try and do this close to the camera so you guys can see it. So I'm going to start at the wide side of my triangle. And I'm going to wrap my triangle, wrap my triangle around my pencil. And if it slips off, you just start rolling again, okay? So I'm wrapping it around, all the way around, until I get to the end. We're going to do this a couple times, guys. So if you need to see me do it again, I'm going to do it 5 more times. All right. So once you get to the end, we need to take some glue. Oops. You want to kind of go light with the glue. So I'm going to take just a little bit of glue, put it on the end, and we're going to wrap that and use that extra glue, smooth it around your bead because that helps your bead stay in place. And this glue dries clear. So we're using the Crayola washable glue. That dries clear. It works really well with your Crayola construction paper. All right. So once you get it wrapped around your pencil, like that, we're gonna leave it there for a second, okay? So leave it for just a second. Try and scoot it towards the point of your pencil so that it's right on the point towards the end. And we're gonna do another one. So we're gonna leave this one on there for a second to dry. Okay, we're gonna do it again. So if you're a little behind, don't worry, we're gonna do this 5 times so you guys can see it again. All right, so we're gonna do a blue one now. So we're gonna take our blue one, get up close to the camera so you guys can see. We're gonna start with the wide end of our triangle, and we're gonna put it on our pencil like that, and we're gonna wrap it as tight as we can all the way around our pencil. Okay, till we get to the end. And then once we get to the end, we leave that little tail of our triangle. We squeeze some glue out, and if you're using a glue stick, it's kind of the same thing. You'll just put some glue on the end. Okay, and we have a little bit more than we probably need, which is good. So then we take this and we wrap it around, and we squeeze out that excess glue, and we rub that excess glue on the top of the bead. That helps the rest of the bead get stuck together and adds a little bit of extra protection. Okay? All right, so we're gonna do a white one now. So we still got 4 more times. So I'm doing 4 more, guys. So if you keep needing to see it over and over again, or you're missing it, you've got some more chances. So I'm gonna take my white, and I'm gonna wrap it. So I start with my wide end of my triangle, and I twist it all the way around my pencil, all the way around till I get to the end, and I leave that little tail point of my triangle out. I put some glue on the end, and I use my index finger to wrap it, and I press it as I'm gluing it, and that excess glue that's coming out, I just kind of wipe that glue around the top of the bead. All right, we've got 3 done so far. So now our red one should be ready to pull off. So slightly, carefully, slide off your first bead. How cool is that, guys? You just made your very own bead. All right, so we're gonna keep our blue and our white one on there for a second. Set your first bead down. Slide these guys towards the end point of your pencil. Okay, and now we're gonna do another red one. So take the thick end of your triangle, put it on your pencil, so hold it there, and we're gonna wrap it around. We're gonna wrap it all the way around, okay? All the way until we get almost to the end. And we're gonna leave that point of our triangle. We're gonna add some glue to the end. And we're going to press that down, and we're gonna wipe that excess glue around. Use your finger to press it down. All right, and we've got 3 beads on here now. So let's go ahead and pull off our first one at the point. We've got another bead, guys. How cool is that? All right, so put that down with your other bead. Move your white one towards the front, and then move your red one towards that one. All right, we're gonna do another blue one. So we take the long end of our triangle, or the fat end of our triangle, we put it on our pencil, and we wrap it around all the way. So we keep wrapping, all the way around. And if for some reason you lose grip of it and it unwinds, that's okay. Just start over. So we leave out the edge. We put a little glue on it. A little glue on the end. We use our pointer finger and we wipe that glue over it, okay? We can slide it on down. Make sure you press it nice and tight so it stays. And we can take off our white bead, the end. Got another bead, guys. I don't know about you, but who loves this? Raise your hand if you like this one. This is cool, right? I'm teaching how to make jewelry out of construction paper. All right, we've got one more bead to do. So we're gonna take our last white triangle. We're gonna put the fat end of our triangle on our pencil. And we're just gonna roll it again all the way till we get to the end. Keep rolling it. Keep rolling. All right. This is one of my favorite Crayola crafts, guys. I love this one. All right, we're gonna put some glue on the end. And we're gonna wrap this edge right around the end. All right. Make sure you smooth it out. Okay. So now we're gonna take off our red bead. Take off our blue one, should be done. And we're gonna give our white one just 1 second, okay? So the last one you did, leave it on the pencil for just a minute more until it dries. And now we're going to take some yarn or some string. So any yarn or string will work. It just needs to be thin enough that it will fit through your beads. So we're gonna make a bracelet. So what I want you to do is I'm gonna have you take your yarn and I just want you to measure your wrist, okay? And if your parents are there, they can help you with this. So put it around your wrist, but we need to leave enough so that we can tie it off at the end. So we can tie a nice little bow. So you wanna measure it around your wrist and make sure you leave some extra so that we can tie a bow at the end. All right, so once you got it measured, we're gonna cut it, okay? All right, I'm gonna give you guys a second to do that. Olivia, do we have any questions?
Can you use ribbon?
So you can also use ribbon. Yes, guys, ribbon, yarn, twine, string, you can use any of those things. It just has to be thin enough so that it fits through the hole in your bead. That's really the only kind of stipulation. We can go ahead and take off our last bead that's still on our pencil. Okay, and we should have 6 beads. Who's excited about these 6 beads? I am. All right, so once you've got your yarn ready, let's go ahead and start to put our beads on. So all we're gonna do, take your yarn, your string, your ribbon, whatever else you're using, and go ahead and string it through your beads. Okay, don't let them go all the way to the other side. Put the yarn through the center of the bead and just keep pushing it through till it comes out the other side. And let those sit about in the middle. I'm just gonna alternate my red, my white, and my blue. And if your yarn becomes a little frayed, just twist the end. Okay, and we're gonna push that through. There we go. And now I'm gonna go back and do some white. And we're making a bracelet, but you guys can make a necklace as well. You can make an anklet. You can make whatever you want. You can make more beads. All right, and we're gonna put our last bead on. And then once we get that on, all you've got to do is you can either tie it onto your wrist or just tie a knot or a bow at the end, and you have your own bracelet. And you guys can keep working on this. If you are still working on your beads, that's okay. But you can also, I've got some other ones to show you. I've got a necklace. So if you want to make some more and put it on a longer piece of yarn, you can, and make a necklace. All right, so if you're done, I want to see it. Hold it up. Let me see what you guys made. Let's see it. I want to see what you guys made. Cool. It looks so good, guys. So now you can wear this tomorrow to celebrate 4th of July. Hey, and maybe make one for a brother or a sister or your parent or an aunt or an uncle, and you guys can all match together. All right, so now we're gonna move on to craft number 2. So for craft number 2, we are gonna make some fun salt painted fireworks. And then I'm also gonna show you how to make those fireworks with glitter glue. So for this project, for the salt painted part, we need some black cardstock. You can also use poster board as well, but we need to use black cardstock, okay? So for this one, construction paper won't work. We want to use that cardstock because it's thicker. You could also do this on cardboard too. So anything that's a little bit thicker is going to work. All right, so you're also going to need your Crayola washable glue. Need some Crayola washable glue. You're also going to need some salt. So I have some table salt here. So this is like the regular salt that you use, thin table salt. You're gonna need some of that. So you can put some of that on a plate or you could shake it right out from the container. You're also going to need some Crayola watercolor paint, okay? Crayola watercolor paint. And then we're also going to need a scissor. And you're either gonna need a straw or a skewer or some type of stick and some tape. So some clear tape to help us attach our firework to our stick. All right, you guys ready to get started? We got some thumbs up. Everyone got their stuff out? We're ready. Awesome. I love the thumbs up. Okay. So now what we're going to do, take one sheet of your cardstock and we're going to take our glue. So you want to watch me do this first. And I'm going to do it a couple times, but watch me do it first. So you want to get your glue so that it's ready to squeeze out. And we're going to draw some rounded lines that are going to look like a firework. So all I'm doing is I'm squeezing my glue out. And I'm just taking it in a curve. And then when I get to the end of my line, I stop squeezing, give it a second, and I lift straight up, okay? So use my glue to make my curved line. Do this side, okay? And I lift up. And I'm gonna put another little curved line down here. And don't worry guys, I'm gonna do 2 of these so you guys can see them. So the idea is that we're making a firework shape, okay? So think about those fireworks that you see in the sky. Yes, we have a question.
Can I use a glue stick?
So for this one, you can't use a glue stick. You've got to go ahead and use your liquid washable glue for this guy for it to work. But if you don't have this and you have glitter glue sticks, I'm going to show you how to use glitter glue sticks to do something very similar. All right, so we've got one firework done. I'm going to do a second one so you guys can see it over here. So I squeeze my glue and I draw my rounded line. When I get to the end of it, I stop squeezing and I pull my glue up. So squeeze, I make my curved line. I stop squeezing and I pick it up. And then I'm going to do the same thing. So rounded line, you can make them different lengths. They don't all have to be the same and they don't all have to be perfect. Yes, we've got a question.
Is there a substitute for watercolor?
So instead of using watercolor and salt, you could also sprinkle glitter on here. So that's another substitute. I would go that way, but if you are going to use the salt, you're really going to need that watercolor. Okay? So I'm going to give you guys a second. I'm going to put my last line on here. I'll give you guys a second to get yours ready. You only have to do one for now. I did 2 just so you guys could see it. And you want to get your salt ready. So my salt is all on a paper plate, okay? You can shake yours right out of the container if you want. But the way I like to keep it on a paper plate because then I can put my excess back on here and put this in a bag and make sure I just use it for crafts. All right, so give me a thumbs up if you're ready to move on. All right, I got some thumbs up, cool. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our salt. Now you can use your hand to sprinkle it, or you can sprinkle it straight out of your container. I'm gonna use my hand because I've got it on a plate, and I'm gonna sprinkle it over my glue. And you wanna put a lot on, okay? So you wanna make sure that you completely cover your glue. with the salt. So sprinkle piles of it on. And you may want to have something down on the table. I probably should have told you that ahead of time. Sorry, guys. But you'll just need to sweep up the excess salt off your table then. But put enough on to cover your glue. So make sure you got nice piles of it. You want it all to be covered. Okay. And then I'm going to just take mine off my plate so I can do my second one. So all I'm doing is I'm pouring my salt over my glue. You want to just make sure that all that glue is covered with salt. Okay, now we're going to have a lot of excess. So remember, you want to keep that plate or grab something else if you don't want to throw it away. Grab like a plate or maybe another sheet of paper. So once you got that all that salt on there, and this is something your parents may want to help you with just so you don't make a mess. You want to carefully pick up your sheet. Okay, carefully pick it up. And we want to just kind of tilt it into a funnel so all of our excess salt falls off. Okay, so all of our excess, so shake it off so all that salt is going back on my plate. And I'm left with just my fireworks. They're all covered in salt. I'm going to get it up close so you guys can see. They're covered in salt. So shake it off until you get all that excess off. All right, and then we can put our salt aside. So remember, can't eat that salt. So make sure that you put it aside for crafting or you throw it away, either way. But make sure it's separated. Yes, question?
What if we don't have cardstock paper?
Okay, so if you don't have cardstock, guys, you can also use poster board or cardboard. We want to use something thick because we are going to do watercolor on here. So if the paper is too thin, it'll get too wet and it won't work. So now that we've got our fireworks, okay, so you guys can see them here. Just make sure you shake off your excess salt. We're going to go ahead and get our watercolors out. So open up your watercolors, get some water. So we want to have our water handy. So just get a cup of water because it's watercolors. So this awesome Crayola washable watercolor palette comes with a brush. So I've already got one in here. And so what I want to do is I want to get my palettes of paint really wet. So go ahead and put your brush in that water. Make sure it gets lots of water on it. And then let's pick a color. I'm going to go with my purple. So I'm going to start with purple. And I want to put lots of water in that palette. So I'm probably going to dip it again and get my brush nice and covered with my purple paint. Then what I'm going to do, watch me do this first. I'm going to take it over here to my firework and I'm going to slightly touch my brush to my firework. So real light, and you'll see how that paint leads into the salt. So I'm going to try and do this closer to the screen for you guys so you can see it. I'm going to pull it up. So I slightly touch my salt, and you can see how the color transfers from my brush onto my salt. So I'm going to only do some parts of each one of my firework stripes in purple, and then I'm going to add in another color. You guys can pick whatever colors you want. So whatever your favorite color of fireworks are. So I'm just slightly touching my brush. You don't want to brush it, you want to pat it. Okay, so just pat it lightly. Nice little pad. Don't want to brush it. If you do get some salt on your brush, some loose salt, just put it back in the water and rinse it off. Okay, no big deal. Some pieces will still fall off. That's okay. So we keep adding our color. And then I'm going to pick a second color in just a second. I'm going to add some more purple there. Okay, and then maybe I add a little bit more right here. All right, so for my second color, set this down a second. You want to put your brush in your jar. Just kind of twirl it around to make sure that you wash it off so it's nice and clean. And then pick your second color. I'm going to pick this lime green right here. So remember, we want to put a good amount of water into our paint palette. So dip a few times so it gets nice and wet. And we can really get a lot of color on our paintbrush. All right, then we come back over to our firework. And we slightly, lightly touch our brush to our fireworks. So just dab it on there real light. And you'll see it just takes a slight touch for that color to transfer. Okay, so I'm doing 2 colors. You can always do 3 colors too, so it's up to you. However many colors you want to do. Gonna add in some green. Okay, and mine's just going to be green and purple, but you guys, you can do as many colors as you want. Because, you know, there's some fireworks that are a whole bunch of different colors. So all I'm doing is I'm lightly touching my brush to that salt and transferring the color. Okay, so very, very lightly. Finishing it off here. All right. How we doing, guys? Can I get a thumbs up? Are we doing good? Looks like you guys are all doing it. All right, cool. All right, do we need to see another one, Olivia? Does it look like we need to see another one? I'm going to just do part of this one so you guys can see it, and I'll do it in a different color, and then we're going to have to move on because we've got to finish this craft, and then we've got one more. All right, so I'm going to do red on this one. So all I'm doing is I'm putting some color in my red, that, and I'm dabbing. So I'm just going to do this one line over here so we can move on. And guys, as a reminder, if you miss any of this or you need to rewatch it, it will be available on michaels.com in about 24 hours. So you can rewatch it if you need to, and you'll find it in the exact same place where you signed up, so in the class section. Okay, so we're going to go back to this first one that we finished, and we're going to take our scissors and we're going to cut out around it. So watch me do this first. So I'm going to take, and I'm going to separate mine to make it easy so I can go back and finish this one later. So if you ended up doing 2, go ahead and separate them so you can finish one later. All right, so we're going to take our scissor and we're just going to cut around the outline. So leave some of your black paper around the edges. Okay. So we're going to leave a nice little outline with our scissor. And if we've got some excess salt on there, we can always shake it off when we're done. And you may want to let this dry a little bit longer, but for time's sake, we're going to move on so you guys can see what it looks like when it's done. All right, so we cut out the outline of our firework. And all that's left to do with it is to add some type of stick to it. And then we can either hold it, we can put it in an arrangement. You guys can play with it. So whether you got a straw or you got any kind of skewer, any kind of stick will work. You could even use a pencil. And you can either glue it to the back, or if you have tape, you can take some tape and you can also tape it to the back. So you can put some tape on, and then you definitely want to let this dry before you play with it. So tape it to the back, and you've got a firework. So how fun is that? Now, if you didn't finish it yet, guys, you can always continue to work on it. But for those of you that have glitter glue, I want to show you how you can make it with glitter glue. So another substitution, that's also an easy one. So we want to take a piece of our black cardstock. Now, you could also use construction paper for this one since we're using glitter glue, okay? So we don't need our watercolors for that, so we're going to put those aside. So pick out your glitter glue. So I love glitter glue, guys. I think I've talked about it all week. Crayola makes some amazing glitter glue. It's washable. And that glitter doesn't leave the glue, so it doesn't make a mess. So I'm going to pick some colors. I'm going to start with red. And we're going to do the same motion that we did with our glue. So we're just going to draw some lines like that. Okay. And then we're going to pick a second color. And maybe we do, I'm going to do some silver. Or, ooh, let's do some gold. We haven't used gold in a while. All right, so we'll use some gold. And you guys can see, let me get a little closer so you guys can see what it looks like. So this is our glitter glue. So this is another option to kind of make the same craft. It's a little bit less messy. So we're then just gonna add in some more lines with our glitter glue, okay, to make our firework. And then we do the same thing. We take our scissors, be careful because it's still a little wet. Take our scissors and we cut out around the shape of our firework. And then we can also put this one on a stick or a straw or a pencil. How fun is that? Do you guys like this one? Yeah, do I got some nods and some thumbs up? Can I see your fireworks? Can you guys hold them up and show them to me? Let me see your fireworks. Let me see your fireworks. I'm gonna show you guys another one too. Let's see it. Awesome, good job, guys. They look great. You guys are such artists. I love it. All right, so we're moving on. I told you we're doing 3 crafts today. We had a busy, we thought we'd end the week with a bang. No pun intended, we just made fireworks. So we're gonna do 3 crafts. All right, and so for these 3 crafts, we're gonna end it by making a star wreath, okay? So what we need for this is some construction paper. So again, we're using our Crayola construction paper. I'm using red, white, and blue. You can pick out whatever colors you want. So up to you, you pick out whatever colors you want. We're also gonna need a paper plate. So if you don't have a paper plate, you can always use a piece of cardboard. You can use a thick piece of cardstock as long as it's fairly sturdy. You could also cut out the shape we're gonna cut out. So we're gonna cut out the center of this to make the wreath. You could cut that out from like a snack box or a cereal box as well. So a couple different options if you don't have a paper plate. You could also use a styrofoam plate as well. Parents just may have to help cut out the center. All right, so we're gonna get started and we're gonna make our wreath form first. So let's take that plate or whatever you're using, even if you're using a piece of cardboard. And what we wanna do is, some of these have a circle, right? There's a circle in the center that you can use as your guide, but what we're gonna do is we're gonna fold it in half, okay? We're not gonna do a full crease. We're gonna just slightly kind of put a crease right in the center there. We're gonna take our pencil, and if you have a circle on your plate like mine does, you can kind of trace that circle. Okay, it's gonna look like a half circle. If you don't have that, just go ahead and sketch out with your pencil a half circle. Okay, and then we're gonna take our scissors. And we wanna keep it folded to make it easy. And we're gonna start in the end, and we're gonna follow that line, and we're gonna cut out that half circle using our scissors, okay? And parents, if you're watching and you share your kids' crafts, make sure that you use the hashtag #MakeItWithMichaels and hashtag Crayola, because we want to see what your kiddos are creating. Okay, so I'm gonna give you guys a second to cut that, but when you do unfold it, you'll notice you're missing the center. You've got a circle cut out, okay? So I'll give you guys a second. You unfold it once you're done, and then we're gonna set it aside. Now, we are going to make some stars, okay? So we're gonna go back to our construction paper that you got out, and we're gonna need a pencil. I'm also gonna grab a marker so you guys can get a better look. You'll be able to see it better. So I'm gonna use a marker, but you guys use a pencil if you got a pencil handy. So we're gonna make a star. Making stars is definitely hard. I cannot freehand a star, okay? It's really hard, right? So this is gonna be our way of getting somewhat of a good shaped star. So I'm gonna do this shape a bunch of times. So follow me first. So we're gonna draw one line, and then we're gonna start at the top, and we're gonna draw down like we're gonna make a triangle, but we're gonna stop. Okay, so it's a triangle without its third side. Then we're gonna go back to this side right here, and we're gonna go up at an angle. We're gonna stop. And then we're gonna go back to this end, and we're gonna go straight across. Straight across. And we go back to this end, and we draw the line down to meet that point, okay? And these stars do not have to be perfect or even. I actually think they look cooler on this project if they're not. So I'm going to do it again. And I want you, if you're going to start making multiples of these, which you're going to need, make them all different sizes. Make some small ones and some big ones. So we're going to do it again. We're going to draw a line down. And then we're going to come down from the top like we're going to make a triangle, but we're going to stop. And then we're going to go back to that end line where we ended, and we're going to angle up. Okay? Go back to that line, and we go straight across. And then we come back to that line, and we come down to meet the bottom of the open line. Okay, I'm going to move over and do some on the blue, so I'll keep doing it. So we're going to draw a line. We're going to draw like we're drawing a triangle, but we're going to stop. We're going to take that line up. We're going to go straight across. And then we're going to take the end of that line and we're going to meet that one. Okay? So we're going to do this a few more times. So let's go ahead and make some bigger ones. We draw like we're drawing a triangle. We take the end of our line up. We go straight across, and we bring that line down, okay? Do another one. Draw like we're drawing a triangle. Bring it down. Bring our line up. Then we bring it straight across, and we bring it down to meet that one. All right, so now we're gonna do some on the white. So we wanna do them in all three colors that we picked. Draw our line down. Bring our next one down, like we're gonna make a triangle. Bring that line up. Bring it straight across. And then we bring it down, okay? And remember, make some different size ones. We're gonna make one that's a little smaller. Down, triangle. Bring it up. Bring it straight over and bring it down. Okay. So I want you to start cutting these out. Now keep in mind, guys, this is a craft that's probably gonna take you a little bit longer. So I'm gonna give you all the basics so that you know how to make it, but this will be something you can continue to work on after we get done. So let's go ahead and cut our stars out. You go around the edge. So you can cut some out of each color. Start with my white, and get one out of my white. And then I'm gonna get some out of my blue. And then we're gonna do one out of the red. And then I'm gonna show you how to put them on your paper plate and then how to add some fun decoration to them. All right, so we got a white one, and you will flip these over, okay? So if you use pencil, you won't be able to see through any lines, but you hardly can see through anyways, even if you use marker. So you flip it over, and we're gonna use the side where there is no marker on it. So I'm gonna cut one out of my blue, and you'll wanna eventually cut all of yours out, but go ahead, we're gonna cut one out of each color for right now so I can get you guys started, and then you can finish after this ends. So this will be some continued afternoon, evening activity for you. Okay, so we're gonna cut this one out, and then we're gonna cut one out of our red. Okay, right? So we got our blue, flip it over, and you can kind of see how they're fun. When they're not super even, I think they look better, right? So it doesn't have to be perfect. All right, so we're gonna take our red, I'm gonna cut one out of the red. Okay, one out of our red. And for this, you can either use, when we start to glue them on, you can either use washable glue or a glue stick. Either one will work. Okay. I'll give you guys a second to get 3 of those cut out. All right. I want you to come back. You'll come back and cut these out then afterwards. Once you get those 3, go ahead and get that paper plate. And I've got a few extra to kind of show you how many you need. So we're going to want to fill up our paper plate. So once we end, you guys can cut out some more. And if you've got a paper plate, you'll notice that we've got some ridges. So we want to flip it over. We want the side that's like a dome to be facing up. That's going to be easy for us to glue onto. So we're gonna start by taking our glue stick and we're gonna put some glue on the side of our stars that has the writing on it, okay? So put some glue. And we're gonna add some glue. And we're gonna glue on our stars, okay? So all we're gonna do is we're gonna keep doing that. So we put our glue on the side where we drew on, so that side faces down. And we're gonna glue our stars all the way around our plate. So you guys have got 3 so far. I cut out some ahead of time, so you guys can cut these out now that you know the basics on how to make a star. You can cut some out when we're done. I wanted to leave you with an activity that you guys could keep doing this evening. So we'll glue these all around, and then you can also overlap them as you go as well. Glue some there. Do we have some questions, Olivia?
Do you have to use red, white, and blue?
So the question was, do you have to use red, white, and blue? And the answer is no. You don't have to use red, white, and blue. You guys can pick whatever colors you want. So you pick your favorite colors and you decide what colors you want. So this doesn't have to just be for the 4th of July. This can be for any time of year. And you know what? You don't have to do stars. You could cut out any shapes you want. Maybe you want to do hearts. You could definitely do hearts. You could cut out any shape you want and use a paper plate to make a wreath. So I'm going to add a few more on, and then we'll have some fun decorating it. And you can either use your glitter glue, or you can also use your Crayola markers to decorate. And so you want to put it all around so almost all of your paper plate is covered, okay? So you can keep adding them. And you notice how we have different sizes. So remember, when you're making the rest of your stars, make some small ones, make some big ones. So they all kind of vary in size. All right, so give me a thumbs up if you at least have your 3 glued on. Got your 3 glued on so far? All right, looks like some of you are still cutting. I'm gonna glue a few more on before I show you how to decorate it. But all you need for now is 3, and then you can keep going afterwards. All right, so now what you can do is if you've got those glitter glue sticks, grab those glitter glue sticks, okay? Or grab your Crayola markers, so either one will work. So either grab your markers or grab your glitter glue sticks, and we can have some fun decorating. So I'm gonna use my glitter glue stick, and I'm gonna come back and I can do some fun things. I may just wanna do some dots on my stars. You could do squiggly lines. You could outline them, totally up to you. Maybe over here, I just wanna do some squiggly lines. Keep in mind, your glitter glue will take a little while to dry. So you'll need to set it, but if you do it with your marker, then you can play with it right away. So let's maybe we do some stripes on here. And again, you guys can pick whatever colors you want. And I know you're not gonna finish this, so this was meant so that you have an activity to keep working on after we end, okay? So maybe we come back with our silver. And as I'm getting finished with this, do we have some questions, Olivia, or any reminders?
No.
All right, so you guys are doing good, huh? All right, so I do maybe some squiggly lines over here. I can come back in, and you could do as much decoration as you want, or you don't even have to decorate. So it's up to you guys. You could just leave it as is. All right, so you could keep going with it, but this is a project that you guys can continue to work on the rest of the evening. All right, so that was a lot. That was 3 projects today, but I figured let's end the week on a fun note with lots of crafts and ones that you can also keep working on. So if you want to make some more crafts this weekend, you guys can do these also this weekend. All right, to end it, I want to see, hold up your projects that you made. Show me what you guys made. Oh, I like it. I see some wreaths. I see some of our necklaces. All right, you guys did an awesome job. Give yourselves a round of applause. You guys are amazing. So it has been a fantastic week. Thank you guys so much. I'm so excited to have gotten to be here with Crayola. So make sure that you check out Crayola.com/crafts. There are tons of other projects there as well. So if you're looking for some stuff to do this weekend, Michaels also has tons of ideas at Michaels.com. And don't forget, parents, if you do share your kids' pictures, use the hashtag #MakeItWithMichaels and hashtag Crayola. And make sure you're following both pages on their social media. If you liked crafting with me, I do Facebook Lives over on Michael's Facebook page as well as Crayola. So I'd love to see you guys again. All right, that's all I've got for you today. I want everyone to wave a big goodbye for an awesome week, and I hope you guys have a wonderful Independence Day. Bye, guys.